Well, hello there, everybody. Let me make sure I got all the buttons pushed. Welcome. Let's see, gentlemen. I think it says we got it. We're live, so we are live. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Soul Tribe. And I'll just speak favor over us all. Just get that right out from the beginning. Nothing missing, nothing broken. You know, if that becomes a reality in you, think about that. You're going to go through the next lives already speaking a harvest. That's what the my spirit guide showed me. There's so much favor in my life. There's not enough life in this lifetime to actually receive the full harvest. So it carries over. Store your treasures in places where neither thief nor rust nor moth can come. So we're prospering. This is an exciting show. I am honored to have what I call really kind of the elders of the Soul Tribe. David Berry will be joining us. So it is an honor to have these gentlemen with us. And without saying any more, I am going to say hello to David Castle, Grandpa Brian, and Big Al, who is, you know, he's out there. He's out there, folks. He's just got to tell you, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. This is, you know, just an honor and a privilege. We got the women who come in on Fridays, and I thought, well, what a balance. So welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you for having
us.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I just love it. The fact that, you know, this Soul Tribe is so freaking diverse that and powerful. Case in point, gentlemen, as before we went live, as I was telling you, we now have 60 people who have signed up for this workshop that, you know, we're bringing 60 minds together to create our own thought form. I mean, they're out there anyway. So if the way I look at it, all right, so if this is how they play, fine, I can adapt, you know, all right. So you want to start playing the thought game? Not a problem. I'm well versed in that. So, gentlemen, what say you? Let me just start with you, Al. You're on the road. So if you folks get a little vertigo, your vomit bags are in the front of the seat in front of you. Feel free to use them at any time. So, Big Al, what's going on?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm in Arkansas, almost in Little Rock, and heading to Phoenix, Arizona, baby. So there you go.
Miss Trina is hopefully on the you know, list of saying hello to.
Oh yeah, well she's always on the list. In fact, I got her address already tuned in to GPS.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's what Al, you are the rolling ambassador. That's what I'm just, you know, we're going to go ahead and just knight you that. So everyone in the Soul Tribe just simply say, yeah, and it's done. And so, Al, there you are. You are the ambassador now.
Well, thank you, Wayne. And we're moving along with the angel cards. Karen is working diligently to get it done for the backs. And I'll send you some information after the show.
Cool. Well, I'm excited about it. They're powerful, you know, and if thought forms exist, as I was talking to Lynn last night, and she's starting to really get it, you know, each of us are, in fact, a thought form. We've just figured a way out to manifest flesh and blood around that which we are. And so I figured if that's the case, well, let's create then. So, hey, by the way, send some of that rain here to Colorado. I mean, that looks refreshing. I'm hearing the Who Quadrophenia, David, in the back of my head. You know, love, rain on me. Little flashback there because I was in this one-room apartment that I had, but and I had it all painted black, and I had black light posters everywhere, and I actually had a quadraphonic system. And if y'all remember back in the day, the Who came out. In fact, it was the Who and the Beach Boys that came out with the first quadraphonic record. Yeah. Good times. So, David Castle, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. I appreciate it, and I'm honored by the being able to represent the Soul Tribe coming in here. But you know, judgment's one thing, and sometimes the better of our judgment gets questioned by the intuition that we have. And Rufus is doing excellent. He's my hair and makeup guy. Got me ready in a snap.
And he works cheap.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, you know. Yeah. Well, it's great to see you. How is things since the last time we met, which has been a couple of months?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got a new tattoo, and I've been trying to help as many people in the evening. If they have any questions, I'm on Messenger, and I try to put in as much time as I can, keeping people along their paths.
Excellent. But, you know, there's more work than there are workers. There's times I feel like I'm the guy with the broom inside a freaking the football stadium, and everyone left their trash, you know, and you're going, how do I stop this?
I love just getting to know the new people and their experiences that got them here, and because they're on the same frequency. So everybody's got a little piece of the puzzle. So learning about people and taking the time to get to know people is, it's a real cool thing.
You know, I kind of look at this like I'm looking at this huge mega jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
They showed me the box, but they took the box away, and I'm thinking, what piece, you know? And what you're finding is that the pieces, if they come naturally, I think there's a song like that, you know, that's how I kind of look at it. If it's natural, then that's kind of the, all right, this is cool kind of thing.
Absolutely. And you'll find that some of these people have had some experiences that you had, and some of them have different ones. So learning, it's another way to being able to resonate with someone. And if you might not believe everything they have to say, it might not resonate at the time, but you just sit it aside and it might come true in a future experience that you have.
What was the scene in Dead Poets Society when they're sitting there and the one guy does the phone? It's like, it's God, you know. He says the line is busy, but that's how I look at it sometimes. You know, sometimes the line is just busy with someone. If you try calling back, you just may connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you give someone a chance, and you might get to know them, and you might realize that they have familiar energy, and you might have known that person through, another lifetime.
That's when we invite them to the party line.
Yeah, there you go.
So speaking of party line, Grandpa Brian, how you doing, brother?
I am doing wonderful. Glad to be here with you, gentlemen. I had my spiritual development class last night, and it was me, our teacher, Jim, and 7 ladies.
Wow.
Whenever I have classes there, there's way more women than men. So I'm always surrounded by the feminine energy when I'm at classes or group. Like tonight, we have our group, and there'll be more ladies there than guys.
You know, statistically, this channel has more female than male viewers, subscribers.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
Who'd have thought, you know?
Yeah.
Then Lynn said, well, you do it at noon, so about the only people who are going to be listening are probably, I said, no, wait a minute. I said, that doesn't mean that dudes aren't out there, but, well, that's cool. So how is the spiritual development coming?
Oh, pretty good. Last night, we do short meditations. It's all kinds of different stuff. Like last night, we were looking at each other's auras. Some nights we do chakra work, get out the tuning forks and work on our chakras. A couple weeks ago, we actually, there was only 2 of us that showed up that night, and we actually went out and met the spirits that roam around in the shop in the evening. They love that energy, and they come in there. We reunited 2 spirits, a mother that was looking for her daughter, and we also helped 2 spirits cross over that night.
Well, that's an interesting segue. It's because, that implies that, it's that scene that I saw that once, that which haunts us all, which is the greatest question that evades us all, is what is death? What is beyond that veil? And it's interesting. So with that experience that you have right there, So what is, because you hear so often that when people are passing, they see the light, they see the tunnel, but evidence is showing just the opposite. It appears there's a lot of people who, how shall I say, kind of get lost in the transition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, that has to do with something that maybe happened in this lifetime, and there's just not loved ones there to help them cross over. There's
so they don't have a reception committee.
Correctly, there has to be someone there to help you cross over, and then that's where Jim comes in. Sometimes he gets a hold of, like, one lady. She was a homeless lady, had no family. There was no one there to meet her. So Jim actually found one of her old boyfriends, and he actually helped her cross over. Matter of fact, she asked Jim because I allowed her to come into my energy field and was just sending her so much love. She wanted me to cross over with her, and Jim said, it's not his time. I can't, that can't be allowed. So he found an old boyfriend, and he actually came and helped her cross over.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, don't they do that in all the Hollywood movies? Do similar shows, right? There's always someone there to greet them. They have to.
I was just thinking of Ghost, Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. I mean, that movie, I think, I consider it probably one of the best love stories of the 20th century that was told. But it's amazing how we're finding out there was so much truth in the substance of that movie.
Yes.
I mean, the fact of him being shot. So that's blunt force trauma to the spirit as well, to the body. And unless you've got that kind of account balance, does that white light come up and pick you up, or does it go that quick? And if it goes that quick, like you said, right, you find many spirits that are wandering. We're seeing a lot more in our house. I mean, there's nothing of a negative value to it. It's just, I think it's just awareness that I'm aware, Lynn's becoming aware, and with the ability of us telepathically blending with one another, your awareness begins to get amplified.
Yeah, that night there was also 2 girls in there. They were both at the age of 5 years old. They were killed in a car accident, and they wasn't ready to cross over because they wasn't done playing, and they were just in the store playing. You could feel that energy, that playful energy, wherever they were. And once they get probably tired of playing, they'll be ready to cross over. But as of right now, because they left so soon, they just wanted to play.
Do you think that is the case, gentlemen? Because that brings up another question.
Yeah.
So if I am of a chronological age here, does my spirit, and I use the word regress, but I guess does my spirit adapt to the mentality of a child? Or do we merely take on that role of which, because I kind of see that most of us that I see in this group in my astral is we're light beings. I mean, I've seen so many of us. We walk when I see in the other side, there's an ambiguous definition, but there is light.
You were talking about the last subject, or when you were talking about the ghosts and the spirits left here, and I believe that they were left here for a reason. I believe that they've maybe had a high frequency and then had an experience that turned into like a distraction, and it kind of has you stuck in quicksand until you can figure out the way to solve whatever issue you got. It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be anything. You could be a workaholic and need something to detach you from that issue. So I think as soon as these spirits maybe one of them was killed in a car accident, like the kids that were killed in a car accident, maybe they were in a certain frequency when that car accident happened, and now they're stuck in that place. And that's why they all come back, and when they communicate with people, they always want you to help them do something. So I think they're stuck in quicksand, and sometimes even we need help from our friends and our family sometimes to pull us out of that situation. you know.
Well, that's real interesting, because it begs then for me to begin to say,
Holy
okay,
shit.
wow.
Holy shit.
Man, my nuts just went up into my scrotum seeing that, Al. Like, stop,
It's like every day. I mean, we see so many of these wrecks, and I really being safe.
So
continue, please.
thinking that, all right, so what are the possibilities that many of us who are talking, I mean, is the possibility that we could get stuck as well? I mean, I don't know. Does knowledge bring awareness, and does awareness bring a certain power? I mean, if you're presented with a situation that is counter to what well, then you would have the ability to resist that.
Right.
Yeah. But once you give it the power, Wayne, if you give your power away to it, and then you make it a thing that you have to live with, just say cigarettes, for example. You have to get up and smoke a cigarette. You have to go out, and once you give it that kind of power, you've got to as far as you can get until you can release that. You got to be able to let it go, just to show your body and to show yourself that you have control of yourself, not something else, not an object.
That you're describing an egregore. I mean,
yeah,
it's exactly what you're describing. I mean, it's the fact that we create, and I was meditating this morning, about 5 o'clock. I don't know if many of you saw the planetary alignment far out, but so I'm meditating on this, and I'm going, okay, so if I am creation, in other words, someone had to think of me in order for me to exist. I use the pronoun me because that's the only way I know how to describe myself in this realm. And if that's the case, then that would mean that if I have been created for something, then that means that something is inside of me, which means that I create. But if I'm not aware that I am creating like the creator that created me, then someone could easily siphon off that power, that natural ability for manipulation.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? That's what I was meditating on.
That's what the black box does.
I wonder if that's what we do when we get on the other side. We create other beings.
I think we have a whole bunch, like Trina said, we have created a conscious network that's alive. I mean, it has thought forms.
Right.
And that's your addiction. I was talking to my brother about this. I said, the addiction that rules over us is that which we've created.
Right.
So true.
I wonder if on the other side, if you have honeydew lists. I mean, it's nonstop, Wayne. It's nonstop. When is it going to stop?
I'm not even going there. I'm wise enough that I don't even want to look inside that door. Screw it. I'm moving on, man. I mean,
so did you lose? So was your hot water tank in the garage or in the laundry room?
It was in the basement.
The basement.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of fun. I mean, some people could find it as a problem. I found it as an adventure. I am so good at changing out hot water heaters. I can do it in 30 minutes.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
Was it just the elements, or did the tank leak?
Hell, they'd had a catastrophic failure in the pressure vessel on the inside. I mean, it's like, okay.
I plumbed mine outside the house for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here in Colorado, you can't do that. I mean, it gets really cold. And so, but to me, it was an adventure. I had to go to Home Depot like 5 different times because they sell you these hot water heaters that now cost like $900, right? That ain't even the fancy one. And so you get the thing in, and I'm still strong enough. I got that strength that, all I need is someone to help balance the thing. And So you get it in there, you get it positioned, and you get everything hooked up, and you're ready to hook up the gas. And the sons of bitches did not send the female nipple that actually has to connect to the gas line.
Right, of course.
So you go to Home Depot and you walk in there. No one knows anything about a freaking gas line.
No one knows anything about anything.
So they sell me this bag of assortments that I assumed that they knew what they were. Bad mistake. Get home. Ain't working, man. Ain't working. So I sit down literally in the middle of the basement and just start meditating. Going, all right, I'm not going to accept this. I said, there is greater wisdom that's lacking here. And I said, I need to know what it is. So I just disconnected the whole assembly from the main gas line, took it to Home Depot, found a guy that he was 18 years old, knew more about this than 4 other adults. And him and I assembled the pieces right there.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, you could use the existing fittings of the old tank.
Well, the problem is that once Home Depot takes possession of your gas tank in that exchange, you can't get it. Because I thought that very same thing. And I'm talking to the manager, and he's trying to explain me, well, I'm sorry that this is a safety thing. I said, well, it wasn't a safety thing when I brought it here.
Yeah.
It's suddenly now a safety thing. Yeah. So anyway, the adventures of real life.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you. Did it go all over the basement floor, or did it just stay in the pan?
No, it had a little accident, but that's the great thing about wet dry vacs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yes.
If you got the proper tools, the job is no problem.
Right. Well,
and I look at that in a spiritual sense as well. I see so many people who are so ill-equipped. Yeah. Many of them that approach, this subject of the esoteric, the spiritual, the occult, whatever you want to call it. And what I really enjoy about this group here is that there's a sense of balance, multiple views, but the views seem to have the ability to, I always call it the adaptability. Yeah.
Well, I'm adapting to the fact that I'm estimating 40 gallons of outdoor paint. Now, each 5 gallons, you have 5 1.5 ounce bowls of poison, so that the wood piece won't bore into your pore. So the current price is $250 per 5 gallons plus $50 for the poison. So that's $300 per 5 gallons. Now, Wayne, I know you remember back in the day, you could buy 5 gallons for what, $80?
Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah. 300.
I mean, it's insanity.
This,
and
yeah.
then Lowe's, they shut me down, and all the vets for the 10% military discount now, because the fuel prices have gone up so much and it costs so much for them to receive and transport lumber, that they've cut us off now for appliances and lumber. No more 10%.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, that's why we have to begin to change this. We're living someone's idea. I mean, the world doesn't, it's upside down. And
I believe the only way you can grow and learn is to have different perspectives. You have to have a different perspective, and you got to be able to have an open mind. I believe you and Trina and Kaz were talking about this yesterday. The mind gets stiff. You can't learn. It can't grow. It can't expand. It has to flow like water. You have to keep your mind moist so you can take this information in and be able to accept it. You got to keep an open mind, or you get stuck if you won't listen to any other perspectives but your own. Then how are you going to get any more information in?
That's why I read. I mean, yeah. I'm a ferocious reader. It's an addiction.
Wayne. So I'll tell you, brother, you read more words, or I should say letters, in one day, creating words, probably 500,000-600,000 letters. I mean, I wish you could convert those to dollars.
Step right up. That's all I got to say. But but David, to get to your point, expand out on that, because Lynn and I were talking. Now she deals with a lot of people, and it's amazing. The ages are getting younger, who their minds have literally become stiff. There's no longer a plasticity to their brains. They become calcified in essence. That's what they are.
That's what happens when you keep building on the prison of your belief system, false reality. You put all this power and you put all this energy into these things, and then you no longer have to think for yourself. They can think for you. If you're questioning any of it, you're going to go to hell. I live in Ashland, Kentucky, so hell doesn't. Yeah, I live in Ashland, Kentucky, so hell doesn't sound that bad to me. So that's just saying here.
There's a party going on right there.
Hell, I think hell's pretty much perspective. Yeah, my hell might be different than your hell.
Yeah, David, you've got quite a lot of UFOs flying over your house. Have you decided to get some binoculars to zoom in a little better?
Yeah, I've got binoculars now, and I also am looking into that lens that you told me about, Al, for my camera, because there's been they were here the night before last again, and now they've been here 8 times in the last 18 days.
Yeah, so, Wayne, the little lens that clips on your cell phone, and so that way you can default the best pixel, right, which is what, 30 on your cell phone, and then you can use the lens to zoom in without any degradation, right? It's incredible. I mean, some of those boards is incredible. I've zoomed in on it with my app filter program, and that's extraordinary. It really is.
Well, that's one of the issues, when you talked about television. I mean, one of the things is I have now become immersed into these thought forms, and it's not that foreign to me. My religion that I came out of, that's exactly what we were doing. When a congregation comes together, they create this group egregore, this thought form. And this thought form is brought into existence by the adoration of those who come forth to worship a much larger thought form. And the manifestations that will happen within a congregation is the result of basically people coming together, focusing in on one specific target or goal and staying to that until it manifests.
Yep.
That's what we're going to be doing in this group, 60 people now. This is, and I'll tell you why I'm excited about this, because I'm tired of looking at the headlines and saying that really sucks. Now I can do something individually about it in my own sphere of influence, but we can do better than this.
Yes.
Your energy goes where your thoughts flow. So you're creating, all the time. And that's why I like fasting. I recommend fasting for people, because anytime I get hungry during a 2 or 3 day fast, immediately I don't eat. I sit down and I think about what I'm actually fasting for. And then you're putting that energy back into it. And it's reminding you throughout the day, this is what you're doing it for. So if you keep your thoughts on the positive side and eliminate all the negative options that could happen, you have a lot better percentage chance of getting what you're manifesting.
I am in a perpetual state of gratitude. In fact, that's what I do. That's my mantra now. It's a 24/7. If my mind is going to be idle, then I'm going to fill it with gratitude. Yes. I'm going to fill it with thanksgiving. I mean, if I have to be thinking of something, that's what I'm going to be thinking of.
Yeah. And it's a boomerang, Wayne. It comes right back to you.
Always does, baby.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if those are Air Force drones that's flying all around everywhere now, because everyone wants to know that it's going to be a UFO kumbaya going to land and straighten everything out, right?
It could be very true, Al. It could be Air Force drones, because this would be the place that you would go to be able to practice that and not get noticed, because there's nobody here to notice if you were to practice.
I mean, Wayne, how long has anti-gravitational propulsion been around? Since Germany, World War II?
Well, I guess if you believe in the what was the Indian the Vishrams, their vehicles, their planes that they had back in the day, they used a propulsion system that was apparently of the same type of class. And it's interesting. Neptune is now changed. Something's happened to that planet. It's coming. Whatever is coming is. We saw it with Pluto. We saw it with Uranus. Uranus had a magnetic flip, turned on its side, and now Neptune has lit up like a candlestick. We're all waiting now what's going to happen to Saturn. And if it does hit Saturn, then Jupiter is the next one, and it's game on.
Yeah.
Just trying to read in the chat. So I want to get back, Grandpa Brian, to bring you into this discussion. So the crystal shop, the more and more that you see these, what you're realizing in thought forms, it's quite amazing to me to see how they adapt. And crystals are one of the things that apparently has it's like a beacon, I guess, on the other side.
Oh, most definitely. And you won't see the spirits while the store's open, but as soon as they close up and people start leaving, they just feel that frequency and love there. So they come in to see what it's all about. And they actually have protectors there that, only allow certain spirits in. Like when we're in the back room, there's a protector back there. They won't let spirits come and bother us while we're doing classes or groups. But on average, there's probably anywhere from maybe 10 to 20 spirits roaming around in that store every night.
So I find this so fortuitous, Grandpa Brian, in the fact that because what you're doing the work already. I mean, what we're proposing to do as this group is the same thing you're doing, just on a different scale. And my question I'm asking is that when you come into these groups and you do the spirit work that you're doing, have you been able, how do you measure the success? I guess is the question, that you feel like you accomplished exactly that which you came in to do.
When you leave class and you get confirmation from Jim and the spirits that what you did that night is exactly, because when Jim starts a class, he basically leaves his body, spirit comes in, takes over, and leads our class. And they want to teach us, they want to show us how to be able to reach the other side. I do know on June 24th, Jim is going to be back on Andromeda 7, and we're actually going to be doing a show on psychic abilities and how to help spirits cross over.
That ties right into that. Did you hear the study that the Zenith Corporation did back in the late 20s? That this experiment, fascinating, is that when they did it in conjunction with NBC, that the experiments were to see how psychic they were. And they used a number of different techniques. And the net result of the experiments is that people are far more abilities in the extrasensory perception arena are far greater than anyone had ever anticipated or thought.
Well, that's because you're never taught, you're never shown how to access these abilities. You're actually taught that you shouldn't access these abilities, that they're bad.
Yes. Yes.
The church, you don't want to talk to the spirits on the other side. That's blasphemy. But yet the Bible, if you believe in the Bible, that was all channel messages.
It certainly was. I mean, unless the dude came down on the throne, I mean, the other way, I can't, there isn't no way that you can look at it. And and this is not pessimistic in any way. I've been on this planet now for well over 24,416 plus days. I realize that, as the famous line of Jean-Luc Picard, I have fewer days ahead of me than I have behind me. I get that. It's cool. It's part of what the ticket says. But as I was telling Lynn about this, I said, at what point do you begin to say, all right, it's been fun here, enjoyed it, far out, had a great time, but I need to start making some preparations for the next journey ahead of me. And that's part of the quest that I see right now, because if this catastrophe is coming, if there is a collapse coming, if there is whatever if is, then this is what I've come to the conclusion. I got two choices here. Either I can accept it, or I can prepare myself for it in the best way that I can. And I believe that I don't need to be affected by this. Yeah, it's going to happen, but it just depends on, I guess, which seat you want. I'm going to ride first class.
Correct. And when people cross over, what they don't realize, when you cross over, all the work you're doing on yourself here, it doesn't stop when you cross over on the other side. You constantly working on your spirit. Jim says there's actually schools on the other side to help.
Would you ask Jim this question? Because this is what I have been getting consistently from my spirit guide. Once the logos becomes the spark, and the logos for me was this total, the epiphany was just like the starburst, unconditional love. Now, I've heard that term, gentlemen. I'm 66 years old, be 67. I can't eat something but off the suddenly. There is a reality to that is beyond the comprehension of words alone. And my question to Jim is ask him what that meaning is. I mean, is this truly the epiphany that I saw this as? If you enter into unconditional love, what you stop doing? You stop condemning yourself. Yeah. You really start loving yourself. And then you look at the person and realize, you know what? I know that it's not that individual that's causing that particular reaction. Unconditional love says that I can be accepting of you 100%. There's nothing that needs to be changed. So anyway, that is my question that I would ask, Brian.
Yeah, I'll pose that to him. I'll see him this evening, matter of fact, and then I'll either text you or email what his answer is.
All right. Yeah.
And you got to think, people talk about unconditional love. Oh, I have. But yet, if you judge someone, you don't have unconditional love. Because if you had unconditional love, you wouldn't judge someone, because, you just unconditionally love them.
That love frequency that you were talking about, the unconditional love frequency, is what everybody's kind of like striving for.
Yeah.
But like Brian just now said, if you're going to get closer to that, you're going to have to lose your judgment in other people's hero's path. You got to let them make their own decisions, and you didn't take a part of their journey. So why do you get to judge what they've done and how they've reacted? You don't know how you would have reacted in the same situation.
Yeah.
Right. That's why there's no judgment when you cross over, because who are they to judge? They don't know the circumstances of some of the decisions you had to make at that certain time. The only one that judges you is you judge yourself when you cross over. That's the only one that can judge you, is yourself.
And that's what my meditation time is with the goddess. I mean, the thing is that there is a singleness of sort that it has no name. It has a name that can't be spoken. It can't be comprehended. And if thought is the creative force that created us, then my thought is going to create that which I seek, and that is that unconditional love. And that means I have to walk. You begin to check off the things you say. Now, wait a minute. So political ideology. Oh, that's a trap. That's an egregore that's just waiting to eat your lunch. I know it ate mine for decades,
Energy black holes, absolutely.
I mean, what the freak? I mean, you want to talk about the left-hand path. Yeah, it's politics. And then it's evil twinned sister religion, and they were both eating my lunch. I mean, I was the freaking proverbial pinball, between religion and politics.
Wow. Well,
you know what I became? A freaking bigot.
Yeah.
You can't help but not become a bigot, because no one, how dare you have a thought and you're going, well, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Energy black holes.
I've told a few spirits that lately, I said exactly what I told them. And I said, yeah, excuse me, but anyway.
So I was a freshman when you were a senior in high school. And then Grandpa and David, y'all were what, 7th grade, 6th grade?
Yeah, something like that.
I graduated in '87, so.
Okay.
So who's the old dude here? Not me.
Yeah, you're the wisest one here, Wayne.
Now that's another personality. He doesn't get to come in, He's got a bad attitude. The dude is just he's inflexible. So
well, see, when I was a freshman and you were a senior, so I was the one always in the back seat because right, and then obviously later on,
I never finished high school, so I never was a senior. I'm still waiting to live out that fantasy.
It's overrated.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I saw a school is when they turned me out, and that was the 10th grade.
Wow.
It's probably like why you the way you are. You probably didn't receive all your obedience training that you were supposed to get.
No, I was kind of Marty McFly, real slacker.
Really?
I wasn't a slacker, but
Well, wait a minute now. So I was tripping out on microdot in catechism. Really,
of course, perfect environment for that. I love it.
That was when I was 14. So Wayne, surely you must have experienced something similar.
No, I actually did attend two, I guess, proms, and yeah.
Oh, did you go to the high school prom? I mean, when you
not for my class. No, this was the ladies that I was dating. I had rather. There's a part of my youth I don't talk about, but I can tell you,
sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby. I grew up playing the drums, and I'll tell you, it was fun. I
was part of a group of libertarians, and because I was on my own, I was out. To be candid with you, I sold a lot of cannabis and sold a lot of hallucinogenics, but I never was broke, and never broke, and yeah.
So you were
the libertarians with their children, and they were all teenagers. We had some orgies that were epic, and we were just all teenagers. I mean, but anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I don't talk about that part of me.
You're the smartest damn sophomore I know.
Yeah. I appreciate your degree in urban pharmaceutical sales, Arwin.
Yeah.
And true to life, I knew a chemist. He was a student at the University of Houston. That dude could make some LSD. I mean, we're talking 500 mics per hit, and pure stuff. I mean, not cut with strychnine or anything. But yeah.
No.
I loved my youth. I loved when, as Bob Seger says, when you're 18, you're a rock,
Yeah.
And Lynn told me I recently took a psychological test to see what your actual age, how your brain really thinks. My brain is at the age of 29 to 35 years old. And the individual who gave me the test, he says the remarkable thing is that the area where you have the memories, it lights up, and it shows that there is very strong cognitive synaptic communication going on. So I mean, so if it was bad, I mean, there are people that now have dementia that's far younger than I am. It's becoming a real problem. I mean, the memory care centers are filling up with now 50-year-olds.
I mean, is that from all the fluoride and all the poisons?
And I think it's because of a spiritual deadness. The thing that I see now in America, and I'm just speaking, not America, it's worldwide. There is such a hunger for the spiritual truth, because that's the one that's being sacrificed on the world altar right now. They're cutting off access to the spiritual.
Yes.
And they're trying to synthesize it with an AI, immersive reality, all the other things that are entailed in that. And this is where I think the battle truly is.
I think the human beings have lost their connection, or they've had it at least dimmed to a point where their intuition no longer works. They can no longer connect to guides or spirits to be able to tell what's right and wrong. And it's because all of these drugs, and fluoride included, that they've got poisoning our meat suits, and they've calcified people's pineal glands by not letting them think for themselves anymore.
Right.
We know they've done that. I mean, it's Dr. Strangelove, the scene in there was so true. The colonel was right.
They can't create anything our way, and they have to have us put our energy into it to be able to create it. Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited about this group coming together, and folks, I'm looking for some help. If anyone's good in organizational type help, let me know, because 60 people is now that's a good list. And wow, I mean, I looked at the list, and I got to tell you, this is like it's like holding the atom in your hand, and you're going, okay, we have to be really careful with this, because what we're going to create is going to have an effect on all of us. Right. And I believe it will actually eventually have an effect on a much larger radius. So
totally agree.
Well, you made
absolutely.
You had how many folks manifest rain for you? Was it last year?
Yeah, 2 years ago. And in fact, we broke the drought at the time here. I mean, it just flat poured out, and that was 2 years ago. And we did that with less than 20 something people.
Okay. Yeah. So 60 plus. That's powerful, Wayne.
And you think about everything we've covered on this channel, all the knowledge, and now the spokes in the wheel are growing out, the different channels that are bringing in different knowledge, different points of view, different understandings. We're growing from that. We're all growing from that.
Someone emailed and called you a pagan, you're like, thank you.
Well, they've called me. They're getting less and less. I'll just tell all the time, because they can't answer the questions, and that just frustrates them. And I just want to give them a hug, say it's all right, man. It's okay. You don't need to be angry all the time.
No, I mean, you compliment them back and say, "Well, thank you. I like you. You remind me of something. You remind me of me when I was once young and inexperienced."
Yeah, I don't know. Grandpa Brian, what was your youth like? I'm curious. You grew up in Indiana, right?
Yes. A lot of drinking, a lot of weed smoking, LSD, mushrooms.
See? We survived it, man. This is what's something else. We have survived it. The men here in this group, I mean, the women are phenomenal. Us guys, we really are the beneficiaries of much of this divine feminine power that's here.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I mean, I walk in the spirit realm and I kind of stick my chest out a little bit going, yeah, I got this. You don't, you know.
And the more you believe, is the more you'll receive. So stay open-minded, because you never know. You'll have experiences, and the way you handle them and the way your energy handles them will decide what is your next experience to take another step.
Yeah.
Right. So the definition of believe is surrender, right? So are we believing, surrendering to a higher hierarchy?
I think it's a knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I told Trina yesterday, I can't be held responsible for that which I don't know. Now, if by that admission, it means that then the only alternative is that I have ignorance. And if you're guilty of ignorance, that kind of covers everything, doesn't it?
It could be amnesia.
Could be. There's a lot of proof to that. I mean,
yeah.
I speak to the spirit realm all the time, my guide all the time. And I said, listen, I know I have been here before. I know that. I said, but the thing is, there's a reason for me not being able to recall that. I think it would be a hindrance. And I don't want to cheat my way through.
Right.
Well,
I mean, you've got different.
Go ahead, Ryan.
That's where the forgetfulness comes back in when you reincarnate, because if you knew everything from every past life, what do you have to learn in this life? Because you've already, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You have the remembrance. So I'm not going to make these same mistakes. It's all about, learning and growing that spirit. And I think in this lifetime, it's about trying to erase a lot of karmic debt in your life. I know there's 3 karmic cycles that I've broken this lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're here for, experience in this lifetime, is to try to break these karmic cycles so we can ascend.
Yeah.
I'd like to, I'll agree with you on that. I mean, for my life, I have found here particularly the last 6 months, it's just been a really wonderful, deep review. And the one thing that I will leave here with is that I learned 2 things. Number one, the ability of forgiveness. You go through a traumatic childhood, you have 2 paths. You can take the path of, resentment, or you can take the path of begin to become resilient. And the only way you can become resilient is by forgiveness.
Right. Yeah,
so I mastered that. And
you and I talked about this, Wayne. I mean, if we knew our past lives, Grandpa, if we remembered our past lives, how long would it take us to go insane in this reality now?
Yeah, probably not long.
Probably not long
at all.
It would be. And the other thing is, I learned the seed time harvest principle, and I learned to master that. It for decades worked against me. And it's a spiritual truth. It's a natural law. The other thing I've learned as well is to apply the natural law. My life for the early part of it was always resisting the natural law. And there's a negative consequence to that. But it became almost normal to me. You know what I'm saying? And someone introduced me to the way it was supposed to be. It felt wrong. It's like, no, that's not the way it is. Yeah, actually it is.
Yeah.
How we made it this far. I mean, it's a freaking miracle. I mean, I was laughing and crying at the same time, because what Lynn came up and she said, your life has been the epitome of what favor is in a person's life. She says it's a natural occurrence in you. And, you become almost, for me, what a gift. Who did this for me? I mean, was it me? I don't think so. I think that, I don't know.
I believe that all the brainwashing and all the programming didn't work on certain people for a reason. And I think maybe we're a certain kind of hybrid has been added into our gene systems and our genetics. And, you know, I don't have to be a veterinarian. I'm from Kentucky. When I hear or smell a horse's ass, I know that a horse's ass is around. And a lot of this programming that we hear, we don't resonate with it because we know it's just simply not true.
Yeah. The commonality of the four of us, and it'd be interesting with the group on a poll on this, is how many of us in our youth actually experimented or was exposed to hallucinogenics? Because they're now finding, medical science is finding, is that it does alter our brain physically. The doctor that I was talking to, you know, the amount of LSD that I consumed, he said, your brain is not wired like the others. And I bet you there's a commonality amongst many of us as well on this.
I wonder how that affected me on a lightning strike too, because
oh hell, the electricity, what the hell is that? That's just life, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, guys. I mean, every nerve in your body was sapped. I mean, and I changed after that too. I really did.
I have no doubt your wife's asking, when did they it's the pod people all over.
She was 3 feet behind me and didn't get hit.
Well, chivalry is not dead. I love it.
Yep.
Way to go, Al. So, Grandpa Brian, getting back to you. So, this whole thing, I know when you were on last time. So, when did you begin to get a clue as to what maybe be the purpose here? Because I think we get a little break for ourselves, but I realize now that my youth, it was anything but a break. It seemed like it was, but there was more initiation taking place than what I was even remotely aware of.
Yeah, I came from a similar background like you did. Abusive father. Mom divorced my dad when I was very young. Being the oldest, had to be the man in the house. So, you know, my early youth was, you know, kind of watching my brothers and, you know, doing all the manly stuff around the house because there was no longer a man there. Even though my dad was abusive, my mom always made sure he was in our lives. And I never,
Way to
and,
go.
you know, I never stopped loving my dad, even though, you know, of the abuse. And one thing I found out, me and all 5 of my brothers, we broke that cycle in this lifetime of the male abuse towards females and the children. We've all broke it. So
did you break it with your dad one-on-one? Did you have that chance?
Yeah, later in life we did. We had the chance to talk about it, and you know, there was
I remember with
there.
my dad, he broke down and cried. He just said, you know,
so did mine.
Yeah, he said, I learned a lesson. I mean,
yeah,
it took the forgiveness of his son in order to allow him to forgive himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if he wouldn't have taken that step, Wayne, he might have ended up being one of those ghosts that you see. But he had to release that, because he's attached. Yeah.
Yeah, he made it. I knew the hour of his passing, and it was really interesting. Grandpa Brian, I think you can relate to this. I was there, part of his. I was a group of witnesses witnessing my father's passing in the spirit, in the astral. And I was called forth to ask if I had any charge to bring against him. I said, none.
None.
Mm-mm. You know,
it was all forgiven.
Yeah. Went
and
right
that's
on
what
through.
Actually freed me. You know what I'm saying? That forgiveness of him actually freed it freed me. I mean, because, you know, once I got around 14, I started suffering from real bad depression and suffered from it till the age of 24, and then came to the realization, this isn't me anymore. I can't be this depressed person. And no drugs, no nothing. I just decided, and I changed my whole life around because I changed my thought.
Bingo.
And my perspective. So
one would say you sacrificed the old egregore and created a new one that serves you.
Yep.
I mean, I have one right now because it knows exactly what its mission is, and it's got a lot of angels, which keeps them in line.
yeah.
Kick his ass.
Yeah. So I have two people. We're kind of doing something like what you're going to do, but our intent is going to be a healing. So me and these two other people, we're going to probably get together within the next 4 or 5 days and figure out exactly what we're going to do. So that way we all do the exact same thing at the exact same time to send healing to people. So I will let you know how that goes.
Please do.
Keep you informed. Yeah. So,
Because that is the ultimate purpose, I think, for any type of creation. It's correct. To serve someone else and healing. I contend that the human race is soul sick. We're lost. There are so many people don't even know that there is a choice. There's an alternative path that can be walked upon. And I think that's part of the mission here with all of us.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize not only do you got to heal the physical, you got to heal the spiritual. And it's not the mental. I mean, mental is different from spiritual. So you heal the body, the mental, and the spirit.
That's the thing about child abuse, is that some spirits are broken and some are not. Mine never was.
Never was. It just made me stronger.
Yeah. Now I've seen the opposite. Right. And typically that leads to a lot of tragedy in that person's life, but it did not break mine. But that kind of tells you a little bit about who we are, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we've all
and our purpose here.
Yeah, it is. That's what I love about this group. We have as much of the feminine in us because of the association with such divine feminine that is in this group, and no doubt the divine masculine. Yeah, maybe it was a back in a time, but the divine, yeah, man. No, the masculine, is one that is reciprocated in kind to the feminine.
Yep. You got to have both aspects. Everybody has both aspects. It's just getting in touch with. It's easier for a woman to get in touch with the masculine side than it is a man's masculine side to get in touch with the feminine side. But I know a lot in this group are really getting in touch with the feminine side of themselves.
And they're not even taking mescaline.
Exactly.
It's all about balance.
It is the balance for sure. I mean, well, gentlemen, this has been a freaking fabulous time. We've got to do this again. This has been, we could go on for another hour easily on this. But, yeah. And Big Al, thank you for taking the time on the road. When he was in the far right lane, did you see that? Woo. I'll tell you, I don't know how you do it, Al. I really don't. But we appreciate you, brother.
Yep. Thank you, Wayne. We do 5,000 to 6,000 miles a week, and we're protected. I mean, we've got all our pyramids here, crystals, and see a lot of death, a lot of wrecks, but we pull through every time, man. I think there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I do too. It would make my ass sore, but
just, geez. Well, that's why I'm taking a break now.
Good. David Castle, always joy and delight. Love your energy, my man.
Honored to be here, and I'll make sure you call and sing to Trina. I heard she likes really good music.
Yeah, as my wife would say, she says, she got a bonus. I actually sing to her, and she says, and the thing about it is, you actually sing good. I said, so honey, so what are you saying, that you would still love me if I didn't? She said, I would ask you to please go outside. So
I have that southern accent, Wayne. So anytime I sing, it's usually not good, but it makes people smile and laugh, and that's all I care about. I don't care. I'm not doing it necessarily for them. I'm doing it because it feels good to me.
Exactly. When you dance, remember, you never dance alone. There's always someone out there. And Grandpa Brian, what a joy to have you, my friend. Always a joy.
Thank you. Just want to let everybody know the gathering's 6 weeks away from this Friday. 4 weeks left to register, so there's still a lot.
How many spots are open?
Yeah.
Oh, quite a few. I think there's only maybe close to 20 people registered.
Okay. Well, folks,
so, yeah.
And this is where intent, you create what you want. And that's the same thing. If you want to go somewhere, it's amazing. If you know how to do it, you really don't have to worry about the money.
Right.
It will come. I've seen it.
So 2 and 4 clubs left on the second deck.
Oh, that's right. So there's 2 left. All right.
2 left. Two and 4 clubs.
Okay. David Castle, what about yourself?
Yeah.
And Rufus? Yeah.
Yeah, Rufus will take one of those cards now. I'm send some pictures in on him. Rufus, he's kind of jealous over the first deck, so he's definitely looking forward to it. I was just making sure everybody that had got on there first.
You got Linda Brooks on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
I texted you her card, actually.
Well, guys, this has been fun. Appreciate it. Tomorrow I got Courtney on, and thank you for being a part of the inner group as well. This is going to be fun.
Courtney MC.
Yes.
Yeah, I did her card. I sent you her.
Yes,
card.
I saw hers. Yes, saw hers.
Yeah.
So good. And she's going to be talking tomorrow, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. And gentlemen, as we got 60 people involved in this, it's grown a little bit larger. So insight, well appreciated. I'm putting together kind of like the workbook. It's the KISS principle. Let's keep it simple. That's how we're going to focus, and then we'll get to the next level. So anyway, anything you have in thoughts and guidance, let me know, and we'll incorporate it in there. And then I anticipate we starting this in about 2 weeks. Looks like we're going to do it on a Sunday, early Sunday morning. And so you've got 24 hours within the Sunday morning. Many of us have already said that, they'd like to get together, like here in the States, if it's 6 a.m., then, 6 a.m. is a traveling. But sometimes we can get together too. It may be 8 a.m., but you're going to get together with someone on the West Coast at 6 a.m. So anyway.
Awesome. Well,
we're going to do some stuff. This has happened before, and it's amazing. We're just doing what others in the past have done. And every time they've done this, it has had remarkable impacts on the inner group.
Mm-hmm.
Really amazing.
That's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've read the accounts of healing, situations of both family relationships. And if they're created correctly, and I'm trying to go on this whole concept of using the 3 laws, no harm to any human, no servitude to any other, but to the core principles of the group for which it's going to be created, and then coming in and giving it the opportunity as others come in to fulfill that same mission. Something along that line. That's what I'm looking at.
That's awesome, Marwag, because the more you get people to believe in themselves, the more that's going to affect their experience. And once they realize that this is their hero's journey and they're the star of their hero's journey, it gives them the power to actually believe that they can manifest what's going to happen to them.
It's going to be far out. We do it all the time anyway. And I figure it's like this. If there's a party in the astral, well, damn it, we should be invited.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone else is having a party over there,
It's not a party unless Rufus makes an appearance. I'll tell you that around
right
here.
There. Linda says, what kind of organization do you need? I can help with that. Well, first of all, we're putting together a master list of everyone. It's important that this is where Al's cards come in. If you have a soul deck card, it's nice to have a picture associated with who's in the group. That gives us a physical point of contact that, it's not just a voice. It's not just a word. I know that Al is going to be participating. And so when we have all of that, everyone should have that in an email file. So we'll have a picture, we'll have the email address, and then when we can see what time you choose that you're going to be participating at that 6 a.m., then it really gets interesting, because now we realize that we're tapping into this group consciousness that we have just given birth to.
6 a.m. Mountain.
6 a.m. in your time. It's wherever it is, 6 a.m. your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's kind of the thoughts as he looks over, and it's 11111.
Yeah.
Right. It's 211 there.
So.
And, yeah. Make it, the more you do it, it's a ritual. It becomes a ritual, and you're giving your energy to it. And so, yeah, the more energy flows there, the better off it's going to be.
I think if people will grasp what this is really doing, when you have those needs, there's a place where you're going to be able to go to. And
absolutely.
There's no agenda. We're just creating it at the energy of what this group is already doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just basically encapsulating it, or as one person wrote me, harnessing it.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, I look at the fact that if you have a power line that's running through, right? One of the big transmitters, you can't tap into that. In any appliance you have in your home, it would blow it out. But if we learned how to step it down, then that becomes power that we can easily become that transmitting line.
Absolutely.
That's
and
how
people's
I see
lost their focus, and the more you can regain your focus and just concentrate on one thing without all these programs and distractions running through your head, you'll, like meditation, that's why it's so important, because you're taking the time to focus.
And so that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 minutes is all it requires. 5 minutes. And we'll have a word, and then we'll be practicing as well as our perception skills. We'll be using the standard 5 shapes, and we'll start out with a shape. And by the end of the 6 weeks, we should be able to be advanced from the shape to the color to the word.
Yep.
So that's how they did it back in the day. And it's like, cool. All right. Yeah. We can do this. 5 minutes.
Most definitely.
Most people.
Keep your brain moist. And you can learn anything. There's nothing out of the limitations you put on, or that you have been put on by yourself. You put yourself here. Yeah.
It's less than 1 cup of coffee concentration time.
I've heard that so many times.
That's all it is.
It's the cost of a cup of coffee.
That's all it is, 1 cup of coffee, It's like, oh, well, hell, I can do that, Sure you can. And you can do it standing, you can do it upside down, you can do it laying down, whatever times you want. All right, gentlemen, much love to you. Peace. Appreciate y'all both, all 3 of you. I guess I'd be the 4th part. I'm not sure what happened to David Barry, but David, we love you, brother. And Robert
love
V.
You, David Barry.
Yeah, we love you, David.
And Robert V., if you're listening to this on the replay, we know he was out on the field. Probably damn cold up there, too.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. All right, everyone in the chat room, we love you all. Thank you, ladies, all of you in the chat room. The rest of you guys, y'all are cool, too. We love you, too, man. Thank you for making this journey. And I know we went a little bit over, but hey, it's been fun. All right, guys, stick with me as we sign out of here. Everyone, I'll see you tomorrow with Miss Courtney Mack.